Hey, what's up, everybody? So, what's the price of crypto doing? Well, it looks like this could either be, we have three waves. So, we have a three-wave move. So, what now? So, either there's two options. Either this is a one, two, three, that's our four, and then we get five. And what this becomes is a wave C, and then you have three down, three up, right? There's your A, and there's your B. And then we get our divergence, and it happens right at the start of the new year, most likely. And it's interesting because if you kind of look at, like, let's see, 2025, you had a little bit of a pivot, but obviously we continued down. Let's go on to 2024. Let's see what happened here. You can see that was right inside of a correction, but once 2024 occurred, we had this pretty big move. Doesn't mean anything at all, but let's keep looking here. So this was interesting because this was the bottom kind of the previous bear market, and this was for Bitcoin. This is 2022, and then once 2023 hit, was right there. That's when we really started to move up. Now, equally to 2022, you could see, right, we flagged out for a little bit, but then ultimately came down. But it was still a move back up. It was still a retrace, which is kind of interesting, right? So we could be as if we are somewhere right in here, and we would flag out, and then we would get one more move down. Boom, 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 right? And then if that occurs, I don't think it's going to be very steep. I think minimum or the least, we don't really want to see it go below 50K. As long as we're above 50K, I think the optics, the health of Bitcoin is still very much alive because, there's no confirmed bear market quite yet. Higher highs, higher lows. So until we break this low, we have to just wait for it to get some type of a retrace. But if you look, like, even on the 2-day, we are definitely oversold. We haven't been this oversold on the 2-day going back over here on this ABC right here. This was a flat. So this could also be a flat, a running flat. And we have 3 down, 3 up, and then 3 down, or 5 down. And that's our ABC, and then we get our retrace, or possibly another high before going down. So the question is it finished, or do we have one more wave down? That's kind of what we're just waiting to see. Now, if this keeps rocking to the downside, and then let's say we get a little bump, we keep pumping, we get a little bump, we keep pumping down, and it starts to shape like this, then I'm going to be like, well, it's going to look like it's going to be a lot deeper than 50K. So it's all about how it starts to react as it's threatening support. But for XRP, it's still just, we had a little bit of an impulse. We're kind of cocking back here. I'm wondering if it's going to hold, or do we have to break the low again. You would think if Bitcoin does, we would also with XRP. So, is this 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're going to get 5? And then we have 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. that's what I'm thinking here. So if we bottom now, we do have 5 waves potentially. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have 3 down, and then you have, is this 3 up, and now we're getting a C wave? Is this like an A, B, C working here? And that's our 1, that's our 2, and then we're gonna start to work our way up, possibly. Or this is gonna be an A, a B, and a C. So we get 3 down, we get 3 up, and then we get 3 or 5 down, and then we start to go up. Build a base right here. Break that support. I mean, that's pretty much it. So just a quick update here, Theta. I mean, really the same thing, although, you know, Theta actually looks a little better, I think. Maybe not. I mean, it just, the wave structures, I like the wave structure better. It doesn't look like it's bottlenecking. It looks more elongated, kind of like more like a falling wedge. So I feel like, you know, we should be very close to a bottom here. Is this like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? So we have 3, we have 3, and then we have 5, and then we have a 1, and then we have a 2. Is this going to be 3, 4, and 5 up? Or is that going to be some kind of a wave like this, and then a continuation? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's what we need. We need 5 with divergence, a base, and then a recovery, a retrace. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. So let's see if that plays out. Look at the bullish divergence though on the 12-hour. I mean, it's pretty good here. We could you know, this could easily be a falling wedge, and we can get a short squeeze, and we can pump real hard up here, and then, you know, get it sucked back and build a range. So you know, if you count it from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, it looks pretty like something should happen very soon. So another thing it could be too is if this is a flat, if this is like a running flat, and you have a 1, 2, 3, and this is a 4, and then you get 5, and it's a sharper move down, and then you're off before the, you know, the new year. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, everything's going to be the same, pretty much. Bitcoin Cash. It definitely looks like a 3-way move there. Looks like we have 3 down. There's 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So 3 down, 3 up, we could get 3 down and then go up, making it basically like an ABC, which means you got a big move down coming if that's the case. If that's not the case, then we have a 3-way move. It's done. We have a double bottom, and we have a 1, 2, 1, 2 when we're revving up to break out. So it's either that or this, in my opinion. I could be wrong, not financial advice. I could be wrong. We'll find out. But it looks good. It looks good, and then people think, you know, Bitcoin's going into a bear market. Well, if it is, that's the time when you get alt. You know, sometimes you can refer it to alt season, but I think this would be a more isolated event where certain coins that have been, you know, look at Bitcoin Cash has been creating a 3-way move for the last 8 years, or really for the last 5 years, right? So, and then we have a 5-way move off of this 3-way pullback. So we have an impulse, we have a 3-way pullback, and we have a 5-way move off of the 3-way pullback. And now we have another 3-way pullback, and it looks like it's a nice cup. And then you have this impulse, and you're flagging out here, and you're right up against resistance. You got this resistance here. So, I mean, come on, it looks really intimidating, like something's interesting is happening here, right? The worst case scenario is if this would be like 3, and then this is some kind of a B wave, and then now we're going to get C, like, but I just don't like it because, you know, this would have to be like an expanded flat. So 3 down, 3 up, not really proportional, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 3, 5. So you have a 5-way move, you have a 1, you have a 2, and then you continue with your move, build a base down here maybe. But it would definitely take some time. So you can also kind of see a little bit of a resistance line there and one right here. Look at this. Look at this, guys. We've actually broken out. So this is really interesting too, right? Let's tone it up to the weekly here. Let's go to the monthly. Look at that. Trying to get as much touch points as possible. So a perfect hit, perfect hit, perfect hit, perfect hit. And look at that. We broke out and we're just cocking back. Look at those freaking candles. You know, you're getting quite a top here. You know, you're getting rejected, but you're also got some pretty big wicks, some back test here, right? Because you broke this trend line. You broke it, you got rejected here, and then you came back to test it there. So it looks clean. I don't use trend lines too much, but they are very helpful. Look at that. That one's right up against it. And then we have one here, and then we have one here. So those are the important ones that I see. So you can kind of see what's going on. I guess we could get rid of that one now. We don't need that. And so, yeah, it's looking really good. So we really wouldn't want this to be an ABC because then you'd break this trend line, which wouldn't really matter, but then you would be back underneath this trend line, which could cause problems later. You know? So it's better that we're above it now. Get it over with. Plus you have this. So you got this zone. It's also really important. I mean, look at all these hits here. So you're right there. So you're at a really key area. You're right on this trend line. You're on the back test line of the supply line. That you, basically where you're at. Think about how iconic this is. I mean, Bitcoin Cash has been around for a while, relative to the whole space, but it hasn't been in a bull market since 2018, just like XRP, right? And for its entire life, it's been, you know, it had a little bit of a move up, right? But its entire life, it's basically been going in a down trend. It's obviously, right, it's bear market. But just recently, it's been kind of pumping up, and it could be a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, right? But what's really iconic about it is that this is our downward resistance line. This is our supply line, and this is basically a line through the whole entire life of the chart. Which means what? Which means we just broke that line. That's what that means. We just broke the most important line you can possibly break on Bitcoin Cash. So I wouldn't be throwing in the towel on a bear market just yet. I mean, I would welcome a bear market, but I want it to prove it to me. I want you to break down, break down, break down, right? And then I would think it's a three-way move, and then I'd still think it'd be going up. And then, but if we get rejected here and then continue down, that's where you say, okay, I got to change course. But there's going to be a pivot. But you have to allow the correction to occur. And sometimes we don't like corrections. But honestly, if you look at Bitcoin Cash compared to Bitcoin, look at the difference. Bitcoin Cash is posted, chilling, ready to roar. It just broke a major trend line. It wasn't rejected. It's been floating above it for month after month. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. It's been above the line for 6 months, testing it for half a year. So that's very impressive, while simultaneously you can see Bitcoin massive dump to the downside. So what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when Bitcoin goes into a retracement? Right? So you have a crash, right? You go into a retrace. This move right here could equate for Bitcoin Cash to go into a bigger move to the upside, possibly even going into price discovery, which would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, possibly. Right? We haven't seen a Bitcoin Cash. I mean, if Bitcoin is sitting, 100,000 plus, or we'll say 50,000 plus even, people are going to be scooping up Bitcoin Cash too, right? Bitcoin Cash is not just, it's not just going to go away. Yeah, people are still mining it. It's still a valid network. Is it the most used one? No, but it still carries the Bitcoin name. It's still, what I'm saying is, don't count it out just yet, right? Don't count it out just yet. People disregard it because it's been terrible basically forever. And that's true, but look at Amazon. It was dead for 10 years. So there's no way in hell Bitcoin Cash is going to be anywhere near an Amazon. That's more an XRP reference, but still, you got a situation where you have the top, you have the bottom, and you're right there at that middle point. So you can get this move either way. And I think that move's likely to break to the upside. But if we do break to the downside, it's still, we have another chance to break to the upside, because it would be a 3-3-5 or a 3-3 or a 3-3-3. It'd just be a more complex correction, right? So, we could test that right here. I haven't used one of these in a long time. It's called a time-based fib extension. I can put it right here at the top, and then I'm going to put that right there. I'm sorry, at the bottom, and I'm going to put that one at the top. And then I'm going to stretch this out, and you can see, look at this, guys. Look where the three-way move pivot occurred. It occurred right there. That's exactly where you would think it would occur. So what that means is that this three-way pullback is proportional to this five-wave move, which means that this is a higher likelihood that this was the bottom, this is an impulse, this is a flag, and we will break out. So that's very interesting. You can also see it as a shoulder, a head, and even a shoulder that's not even pronounced, because it's the price is so bullish, it's not letting it shoulder. It's not letting it concave in, right? Or is it convex? No. Anyway, so there you go. So we're most likely not going to get this. And if we did get that, it could still work out. But then, because it's not as proportional, there's an increase that it might not work out, meaning Bitcoin Cash is just a dead coin, right? If you can't recover after a three-wave move, right, maybe you have to come down and create a double bottom. That happens a lot too, right? You get a five-wave move up, and then you create a top here. You have to come back down a little bit, and then start that journey. And then you get that 1-2, that bigger 1-2. And if that happened, then that would translate to a Bitcoin bear market for sure. But we haven't confirmed it yet, so we have to wait. So it's, it is what it is. XRP still at $2. I mean, look at the flat monthly chart. Boom, boom, boom. You got that three-way flat here. You got that impulse. So once we finish, there could be a really good chance that we can take off from here. But when I look at Rune, I mean, I guess it's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, yeah, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got a 5, 3, 5. Impulse, three-way pullback. You got to confirm the low, build a base, and then look for the retrace. It looks interesting. I don't know if it's all the way complete. I bet if I did this, it'd look a little bit different, right? There we go. Impulse, three-way pullback. Looks pretty interesting. Because let's see how the month ends. You got this doji here. And what's the sequential? We're on a 5 on the monthly. The weekly, oh, what the hell? We are on a 9. We had a 9 buy on the weekly. Right there. You can say, well, yeah, we had a 9 here, we kept going down. Well, that's because you have to use it with Elliott wave, or it won't really work the way you think it will. But we had a 9 here, we had a three-way pullback, so it alleviated the pressure. And then we came down, we had a three-way pullback, we had another 9, but it failed, continued down, now we have another 9. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 waves down, plus we have a 9 on the weekly. I mean, come on, that's definitely worth taking a potential shot in the dark there. I mean, DCA, but still, how far are we from the top? That's also important. Oh my God, we're 3,000% away from the top. That's crazy. So, I mean, I think that's why I had Rune up on my list. That's why I put it there. That's why it's sitting pretty high on my list, which it's not in any particular order, but I just keep the ones I look at more often on the top. And I put Rune on the top because I thought it was interesting. And, I don't know if it's quite complete yet. I don't know if it's quite proportional. See, I'm thinking, if this is this and this, and this is that, or do we have this, and that's that, and that's that. I don't know. So that's why we don't go all in, right? Never do that. But, taking firing a bullet won't hurt nothing. All right, so yeah, that one's cool. Op. I mean, you got 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, everybody was talking about optimism when it came out, and then now look at it. You just never know. Same thing with AVAX. Everybody would love that one, but just didn't really feel right. Solana, definitely a lot better, but that one also was kind of weird. So yeah, let's look at Solana. I haven't looked at that one in a while. I don't like the way I don't like it. I never liked Solana, man. I don't know. I wouldn't invest in it. Not even. I mean, it's really hard to. honestly. I mean, I know it's going to do well, but, you know, I, I'll just tell you what I don't like about it, which is you got 5 waves up, right? You're getting 3 waves back. You're right at the all. So on that hand, it's pretty good, but it's just not a lot of upside for me because it went up so aggressively in 2021. I mean, remember, Theta went up a lot in 2021. Look how long it took for it to fully recover. If I do this, I mean, this also went up 50,000%, just like Theta did. And, Theta sitting down here and Solana sitting here relative to the high. So which one would I rather own? Something that's a lot cheaper? But then again, Solana could, I'm not saying there's not a spot for it in someone's portfolio. I think that's totally, Solana deserved a spot in everyone's portfolio. But, I don't know. I just don't see a lot of upside here. Because of how aggressive that was. And I do, and I also don't like how you kind of have like a shoulder, a head, a shoulder. It looks head and shoulder Z. It looks toppy. So you're cupping down, you're cupping down, you're cupping down, as opposed of cupping up. So you can see the structure. So, you have a big leg extension here, and there's no support, really hardly any. So it's just not one that I would prefer versus something like, I don't know, AMP. Here's AMP. Like, AMP looks interesting. I don't know what it is, but you got an impulse, you got a 3-way pullback. I mean, it's definitely risky. Let's see, we look at ADA. Yeah, I'd rather own ADA than Solana. Just because ADA is down here, Solana is like right there relative to its 21 high. And ADA has a better 3-wave move. But on the downside to ADA, and on the upside to Solana, what if this is a bigger, a bear market, a retrace, an extension of the bear market before something like that, where Solana, you could easily go pop the top because you're closer to price discovery. So, like Monero, you're cupping into the resistance, right? You're cupping into it. So to me, I would rather have Monero than Solana. Even though Solana is cooler, right? Everyone, it could do more things. It's a cooler coin to own, but to me, I don't care about that. I care more about what the structure looks like. And you got to care about the coin too, but more so what the chart's saying. And this one, I'm just in this situation. It looks like a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. I would just keep my trend line here, and I would hold that. You got a 3-way pullback. We don't know if it's going to be if it's going to be a move like this, right? A 3-way move like that, as opposed to this just being ready to go now. We'll see. Anyways, I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.